Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video we are finally going to be reviewing Pat McGrath's new holiday palette. This right here is the Celestial Odyssey palette and I cannot wait to show you guys the inside, the packaging, the swatches, and of course I'm going to be doing a couple of looks today with this beautiful palette. And of course I will have a 5 looks 1 palette coming with this one because it is massive and it's got so many different shades that I can play with. As you can see, I am very excited. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm filming this video on the 29th and just a couple of hours ago the rest of the holiday collection went live on the Pat McGrath website. So now you guys have access not only to this beautiful holiday palette but also the holiday blushes, highlighters, the quads, everything. I bought both of the quads, I bought a cheek palette, and I also bought a highlighter. I'm super excited for whenever that arrives next week. And today we have this palette to talk about, which I'm kind of glad that she divided her launches because now we can focus all of our attention to this huge palette right here. The Pat McGrath Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey Artistry palette has a total of 18 shades. The shades are a little bit smaller than the shades that come in her quads or her Mothership palettes. And in this palette you won't find any special shades. There are no Astro Blitz shades in her holiday palette, but the palette retails for only $78 versus her usual Mothership palettes, which contain less shades in a bigger pan, but those retail for $125. Just like last year's palette, I feel like this size palette at this price point is an amazing way to get yourself familiar with Pat McGrath's amazing formula, because even though these palettes don't have Astro Blitz shades, every single shade in here is still going to have amazing pigmentation, amazing blendability, amazing versatility, amazing shine. I think Pat's formula is great with and without the Astro Blitz shades. The Astro Blitz shades just add a little bit more like glitz to the palette, but every single one of the shades in here is also going to give you a lot of pigment payoff and a lot of shine. I have last year's holiday palette right here and I wanted to show you sort of a side-by-side comparison of the packaging. So here you go. As you can see, this year's palette is a little bit bigger than last year's, and as far as the thickness of the palette are concerned, this year's palette is a lot thicker than last year's palette. It feels bigger on the inside, but it has the same exact amount of shades than last year's palette and they weigh the exact same. So you are getting the exact same amount of product than the Celestial Divinity palette brought. Let me go ahead and show you guys the swatches of this one. Here we have Sunset, whoa, Nude Venus, Gold Galaxy, Noir Moon, Bronze Nova, and Nocturne. I don't know if you guys noticed from when I do the live swatches like this, but I usually have to go back and like make them even or just add a little bit more color. Not with Pat McGrath. Galactic Glow, Sunrose Amber, and Lotus Luxe. Lunar Haze, Electric, and Heavenly Body, Bronze Eclipse, Solar Flare, and Nirvana. Ooh, that is beautiful. Corrupt Copper, Palladium, I put too much up top, there we go. And lastly, Citrine Envy. Okay, so take a closer look right over here and tell me those are not absolutely gorgeous. If I ever had to go back over a shade, it was because too much came off at first and I had to like even it out a little bit, but it was just a few of the shades and I'm going to blame it on just me putting too much pressure at first. These look absolutely incredible. I have my light down, so these colors should look very true to color, and I cannot wait to put these on my eyeballs. There are 4 shades in this palette that aren't brand new to the Pat McGrath line. Rose Venus, Bronze Eclipse, Corrupt Copper, and Lotus Luxe right here. Now, out of these 4 shades, I only have one in my collection, and that is the Bronze Eclipse shade, which is this metallic brown. This shade is also in the Midnight Sun palette, which is a palette that I own. The shade Lotus Luxe right here was previously available in a 6-pan palette from Pat McGrath that I don't own, and that one was called Golden Opulence. And then the colors Corrupt Copper and Rose Venus were previously available as singles. I don't own any of Pat McGrath's single shades, so I don't have those either. I got all of that info thanks to Temptalia's really detailed blog post. If you guys ever have any questions about like anything makeup related, check out the Temptalia blog. It's always full of just makeup goodness. So let's go ahead and just start playing with these shadows, which is what I've been personally waiting for. I don't know about you. Of course, I have my army of Rephr brushes right here because truly nothing works better, and let's just go for it. Okay, so first things first, I want to use the color Electrique right here. And this is my Rephr number 15 brush, and I'm just going to put it all over my crease. Hello Pigment. That is super pigmented, and as you can see, it is blending out seamlessly, no surprises. And this is like a beautiful salmon color, not quite pink, not quite peach, right in the middle. Very beautiful. You guys saw how easily that blended out. With my Rephr number 1, I grabbed the color Nocturne, and I'm going to tap it on the outer corner of the eye, blend it into the first shade ever so slightly. And I'm going to do the same thing on the inner part right here. We're going to do a halo eye for our first look. I wanted to say, when I saw this palette being announced, I would say surprised in a good way. It's a holiday palette, so I feel like I wasn't expecting the color story that the palette actually is, but I was just thinking this is going to be an amazing palette to have for next spring and summer because it has such nice, beautiful, rich, colorful, fun shades. And you can obviously totally use it for the holidays too because it's Pat McGrath, so it's full of glitter and shine. But like the green shade and the teal shade and just the beautiful pinky colors, all of those are going to be absolute perfection for next spring and summer. I'm just saying. Okay, that brown shade is blended, and now let's play with some shimmers. I don't even know what shimmer I want to pick first. I'm like all over the place right now. I'm going to go with Bronze Nova because I think it's going to look really beautiful right here in the middle. Oh my god, yes, that looks stunning. Going over the edges with my Rephr number 1. So this right here is the shade that I just used, and now I'm going to grab a little bit of Palladium here, and I'm going to put it right over the center. Just for some added dimension. I totally could have left it where it was, but I just wanted to try one more shade. For my inner corner, I'm going to grab Lunar Haze right here. And this is my Rephr number 26 brush. Ooh, that's beautiful. Okay, so right on the inner corner and blended it into the crease a little bit. With my Rephr number 13, I'm grabbing the dark brown, and I'm going to just put it all under my eye right here, underneath my lower lash line, back and forth. Here, I have a brush hair right here. What's going on? There we go. And my salmon color right here with that same brush. Just smoking everything out. Take a look right here. This is absolutely stunning. I think for this look, I definitely have to use the Citrine shade. I am dying to try that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for this color right here. And I'm using, once again, my Rephr number 15. And I'm just going to blend it on the crease of my eye back and forth with that brush. It came out a little bit darker than I expected, but I'm blending it down to the color that I wanted. And I haven't stopped talking, so you've seen pretty much the whole blending process. Switch to my Rephr number 1, and I'm going back to that same shade, and this time I'm not going to like sheer it down. I'm actually going to pack it right here on the outer corner of the eye so that it looks a little darker, and I'm going to blend it into the crease. With any other brand it takes like 4 shades to get this level of depth and like blend it out like this. With Pat McGrath, just 1. You just need 1. Okay, so let's get Citrine and put it on the eyelid. Ooh, that is stunning. I'm also going to grab Nirvana here with my Rephr number 2, and I'm going to tap it right here on the edge of the green shade. Mix them together right here in the center of the eye. And with my Rephr number 26, I'm grabbing this shade here, Galactic Glow. And I'm going to go from the inner corner over on the crease right there, kind of just incorporating it into the rest of the shades. A little bit more of this matte color, and we're going to go over this edge back here and just make sure everything looks nice and blended. Back with Galactic Glow, and I'm going to go down to the tear duct area from my inner corner, grabbing a little bit more of this one with the Rephr number 3, and I'm going to put it right underneath my lower lash line here throughout the center of my eye. Same number 3 brush, and I'm grabbing the matte shade, and I'm going to go on the outer corner of my lower lash line with it, and with a little bit more of that same shade and my Rephr number 13 brush, I'm going to smoke it out right under here. Okay, so this right here is the first look, and here you have look number 2. I'm going to do a little bit of eyeliner, I'm going to put on some mascara, maybe some lashes, and I'll be right back to show you the final looks and tell you what I think about this Pat McGrath release. I'm back. I did liner, mascara, I put some lashes on, I did a little bit more bronzer, blush, and highlighter, put a lip on, just kind of finished up the look in general, and this is what I have. So once again, check out look number 1 right here now that it is completed. I really love how all of these colors came together. And then here is the second look right here. A little bit more spring and summer, a little bit more colorful, but just as beautiful in my opinion. I can't wait to continue to play with this palette when I do my 5 looks 1 palette video and see what other combinations of shades I can come up with. From my experience just doing the swatches and using the shades that I use for today's video, I wish there were more cool tone neutral matte shades in this palette. I would have totally loved combining the teal and the green shade instead of with a warm crease color with a cool tone crease color. I feel like that would have been a really beautiful look. You guys know whenever I evaluate a palette, I kind of do it based on like color combinations, and so even though Pat McGrath gave us more mattes this year than she did last year, I do wish that it would have been a different combination of matte. This pink matte and this salmon matte right here are kind of like the same shade. You can use them for the same kinds of looks, so I do really wish that one of those was different. Maybe a more neutral or cool toned matte would have been perfect to combine with the more colorful shades that the palette has. Besides that though, I do really like the variety of shimmer shades that the palette has. I think it's going to be easy to come out with a 5 looks 1 palette video where every single look is distinct and different, because there's a huge variety of shimmer shades in this palette that are going to make every look special and different from the previous one. So yeah, I think my only complaint is that I wish that the matte shades were a little different, or that there was a little bit more variety in them. Again, I would have loved a neutral or a cool tone matte. As far as price, size, and formula goes though, I think this palette is excellent. If you haven't tried the Pat McGrath formula before, because her palettes are quite pricey, I think that this type of format of palette is the best way to get your feet wet, because you're getting 18 Pat McGrath shades for $78 versus getting 4 for $56 or 10 for $125. Yes, the shades are smaller, but how often do you really go through a shade? And also you have so much color variety in this palette. It is absolutely incredible. One more thing I wanted to note on this year's packaging versus last year's packaging is that last year's packaging right here where the shades go is cardboard, which made the palette feel a lot cheaper than what Pat usually gives us. But in this year's holiday palette for the same price, she gave us a little plastic thingy here where the shades go that makes this palette feel a lot more luxe than last year's palette. At least that is my experience with it. And yeah, the formula is great, the price is right, and I do totally recommend that you guys get this palette. Even if you have a large Pat McGrath collection, I feel like the shades in here are different enough to justify grabbing this one. And if you've just been thinking about Pat McGrath eyeshadows for a while and you just can't justify the high price, I think this is the best value for her shades because you just get so many different colors in one palette for a lower price. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the whole Pat McGrath collection is now available on her site, and of course I'm leaving you all of the links down below. I'm leaving you the link to the palette, the rest of the collection, and I'm also leaving you links to everything that I'm wearing on my face in case you guys are curious. If you guys like this video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up before you leave. If you're new to my channel, my name is Patty and I love it if you were here to stay, so please don't leave without subscribing. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here and I hope to see you back in the next video. Bye!